We now look back at the largely forgotten aspect of Bush war in Iraq. The first domestic propaganda campaign occurred in the United States before the invasion began in 1990. The story centers on a young Kuwait woman named Naira. That's on October 10, 1990, that the 15-year-old girl gave a riveting testimony before the Congress about the horrors inside the Kuwait's hospital after the invasion of Iraq.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, my name is Naira, and I just came out of Kuwait. My sister, with my 5-day-old nephew, traveled across the desert to safety. There was no milk available for the baby in Kuwait. They barely escaped when their car was stuck in the desert sand, and help came from Saudi Arabia. I stayed behind and wanted to do something for my country. The second week after invasion, I volunteered at the Al-Adan hospital with 12 other women who wanted to help as well. I was the youngest volunteer. The other women were from 20 to 30 years old. While I was there, I saw the Iraqi soldiers come into the hospital with guns. They took the babies out of the incubators, and left the children to die on the cold floor. It was horrifying. I could not help but think of my nephew.
Naira's testimony was broadcasted again across the country, marking the turning point in the public opinion on ongoing war. George W. Bush later repeatedly cited her claims.
They had kids in incubators, and they were thrown out of the incubators so that Kuwait could be systematically dismantled.
3 months after Naira testified, President George H.W. Bush launched an invasion of Iraq, but it turned out that Naira's claim weren't true. No human rights group or news outlet could confirm what she said. It also just turned out that Naira was not just any other Kuwait teenager. She was the daughter of Kuwait ambassador to the United States, South Nasser al-Sabah. She had been coached by the public relations firm and Hill Norton, which was working for the Kuwait's government. But the blowback from the Bush 1991 invasion of Iraq is still being felt today in the US. Although the Gulf War technically ended in February of 1990, the US war on Iraq continued decades after this, from devastating sanctions and then in 2003 invasion of Iraq by George W. Bush, that was the son of the former senior Bush. Tens of thousands of US troops and contractors remain in Iraq today as we talk. The reason why I gave this brief history of the invasion of Iraq by George Bush Sr. in 1991 is because his son later invaded Iraq in 2003, and what culminated what we have right now is because of those two invasions. So right now we have another new one that is coming upon Israel by a terror group called Hamas. But a lot of people forget that we used to hear in the news, or we used to watch in the news back in 1990s and early 2000 about PLO. If you remember Yasser Arafat, that was the leader of the PLO group, which is Hamas right now. And the reason why I'm taking you guys back in history is because there's another guy that's going around now doing the same propaganda. So are we here to believe him, or is he a guy that is being orchestrated by another Bush administration or maybe Biden administration? This guy is called Mossab Hassan Yosef, but he later changed his name to Mossab Hassan Joseph because literally he just said that he has converted from Islam and to Christianity. And he's actually going all over the news. Let's watch him and listen to what he's saying here on this clip.
Hamas represents chaos. This is where they thrive. Israel represents order, democracy. Hence, those are the two opposite extremes that have been clashing.
The very brief history of Mossab Hassan Yosef that I know is that he's the son of the former founder of Hamas, or co-founder of Hamas in early 1990s when it was under the name of PLO. You remember Nasser Arafat? He was the leader of PLO back then, and before he changed to Hamas as a political organization in Palestine. And he actually, Yosef worked for Mossad. This is Israeli intelligence, as a counter-intelligence personnel. He was working for the Mossad in West Bank and then later in Gaza. The decision is yours now. Now we have seen, for any country to succeed in going to war, it has to rally up citizens and lie to them or use propaganda of actually justifying going to war. We've seen that happen in those two invasions. So is this the right way of going to war? Is this the right decision? Is this guy going to be another Naia, who came to United Nations crying false cry. And I don't want to take sides, but I have to say that some people have to do some due diligence before they make very important decisions concerning their securities in their countries. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel